Morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's edition of the MPC Markets Morning Call, 22nd of January 2026. Stocks recovered really nicely overnight as Trump's present to the Davos conference was bringing Taco Wednesday as he pretty much backpedaled on everything as per usual, which is getting super, super boring. Yeah, so basically we had, it was much more of a risk on attitude. I think this now, short of him invading like any country, I think basically no one's really going to believe anything he ever says for the next 6 months unless he actually puts boots on the ground. So, and yeah, but I guess we kind of knew that he had that he's got the an impeccable track record of chickening out. But yeah, so basically we're going to see that reversal of what's been happening in the last couple of days. We'll probably see the heat come out of golds and silver, platinum, some heat come out of some of the rare earths and critical mineral stocks, etc., and back into tech. So yeah, which is as much as it feels like big news, it's from a finance news point of view, everyone's getting a bit bored of it and everyone's getting a bit sick of it, and it's just it really is just getting beyond a bit of a joke and a predictable distraction. So Nick Iron, all these guys, these down days here for the ASX 200, for the Hang Seng, for the Euro stocks, they were pre-Trump turning up to Davos. Just bear with me 1 second. And basically, yeah. So basically, they're and I'll have to come back to that in just a second because I'm not sure. We'll go to gold and the commodities, but where gold was still up a little bit, silver was down. Yeah, again, just a little bit of a reversal of those previous moves. So there's not really much to report. I would say that one thing that I've noticed is the Aussie tech sector got absolutely belted yesterday, and probably really unnecessarily so. I think there's probably some opportunities there. You got the likes of Zero and things that in the low 90s, and WiseTech at 60, and Technology One was down. So I think you'll see some pretty good recoveries in those, and overall I think they're in really good shape to recover. But yeah, but I wouldn't essentially, something could happen tomorrow. Because I think it's a little bit embarrassing. The media's already sort of starting to go after Trump, and whenever he's embarrassed, he says something stupid again. So yeah, it was an interesting point. It was raised by Nadine on Ausbiz yesterday when I did the COB. The sheer speed and the amount of announcements lately. There is no way on God's green earth that the administration has anywhere enough of people to be to be vetting even half of these ideas. And but so really they are, we probably all need to start pushing through the crap and start analysing what's realistically on the horizon. So and this was a graphic I used yesterday, but both in the morning call and on Ausbiz, the risk piling up. But we get to put a line through one of them, the Greenland US EU relations. Because he really has backpedaled, and we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major potentially significant market moving things ticking away in the background as well. So just because this is solved doesn't mean everything's solved, because the risks have definitely piled up. And like I said, and knowing Trump, he could be. Tomorrow we could be turning around and he's going to buy, Madagascar because it's got rare earths or something. Who knows? It's just so ridiculously random at this point. But yeah, so one other one thing here as well. So I'll just make sure this graphic comes up properly. So we've got the silver and silver miners a chart here. We are looking at basically at we've been long physical silver via the ETF for quite some time, and we are looking to to take profits. It's been a very good run. This is a 5 year chart, 276% 5 years. Miners only up 142%. We did a similar thing in gold and gold miners about 6 months ago, and gold miners have outperformed by 22% at this point. Even if silver goes sideways from here, the miners' margins have increased remarkably. Well beyond the pace of inflation at 276% in 5 years. So, these precious metals miners are going to be, largely printing money, even if it just stays here. If it goes up, they're going to follow anyway. So, GlobalX is launching a ASX listed silver miners. It's just a mirror of the US one that we've already bought for clients, etc., who have US accounts. But it's good to see that GlobalX are onto it, and then there's demand because there's really only junior miners here in Australia. We're a mining index, but silver's been one of those only things that we're not particularly dominant in. So that's one to look at next Tuesday on the 27th, obviously Australia Day on the 26th. Netflix sort of disappointed, but the market, it was, they did have a stronger than expected result, but weaker guidance. They were down quite a bit. Overnight, and that was already really factored into the aftermarket. Johnson & Johnson fell despite pharmaceutical giant forecasting 2026 sales and profit growth, and that was ahead of expectations. Adding in that it anticipates a hit of hundreds of millions of dollars from drug pricing deal recently notched with the US government. It was in those numbers as well, but yeah, look, we saw the likes of Telix basically tick every box that they said and beat guidance the other day and get dropped 8%. For whatever reason, healthcare globally is just a bit on the nose at the moment, and it doesn't seem to be attracting any inflows. I think it's relatively quite cheap, but obviously when companies are on, the sector usually averages like 20 to 40 PE sort of thing, and which is forward growth, and with RFK in control in the US and Trump saying he's going to get drug prices down and things, that uncertainty probably does. It is justified in taking out that growth premium and those forward 30 PEs that they normally set out. So most of the sectors, CSL for instance, at 11-year lows for price to earnings. So we've got employment today, GDP final tonight. This is the third revision of the GDP number. So normally it's pretty quiet because everything's already factored in, but just given the government shutdown, I would expect that there may actually be some movement in the GDP numbers tonight from the previous number last month. There's potential for greater revisions, and that will go for PCE as well on Friday, which is the Fed's preferred inflation index. And what we're looking out for tonight: Intuitive Surgical, Intel, Freeport-McMoran, Procter and Gamble, GE Aerospace. Be pretty interesting night tonight and tomorrow morning. But just a quick update on Halliburton did very well last night as well. No surprises there. They exceeded analyst expectations. They're going to have a lot of work in the pipeline in Venezuela, I would imagine. And Travellers, stock gained after property and casualty insurance giant beat fourth quarter estimates, driven by stronger underwriting and higher investment returns. So, but overall, a bit of a deflating day in terms of, the repetitive nature of Trump backpedaling and everyone, but just pushing us a little bit further this time than the last time. To believe that he was going to go one step further, I guess that's his skill. But, there's going to be a lot of people who are probably going to have to regrettably, turn the ship around after probably, buying into some safe haven stuff yesterday or the day before. But look, keeping up to we actually took profits in a structured investment in gold miners and silver yesterday, and we've started to take some profits in some of our. We're heavily overweight in the precious metal sector as well, but so our clients got this on Mosaic yesterday to start trimming before the market shut. So these when we have our recommendations, we don't just dish out a buy recommendation and then wash our hands of it. You get your sell recommendations as well, and it comes through as a push notification on your phone, so it's timely. You can hit respond, or you can, if you're self-directed, you can go to your terminal and go and get out of things. And there's all the reasoning and the video recommendation and PDFs and stuff behind it as well. So if you want to get your 1 month trial and let us watch the market for you, so you can get on with your life, but not miss out on taking profits or getting on the next rare earths or lithium or whatever, go to mpcmarkets.com.au/mosaic. You can follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts at MPC Markets, and I would say basically if you look at yesterday's market map on the ASX and look at the ones that were the most read, that are high quality picks, and like I say, it's more than likely going to be around that that tech sector, maybe a few of the healthcare sectors. They're probably going to be some of your best bets to be buying this morning. There's some really downtrodden names there, and there could be a few opportunities. And whilst it might not recover like immediately, I think I'm not saying you have to go bet the farm, but I think quite a number of those Aussie tech sector names are value at this point. And if you just start dollar cost averaging, I think you'll find there'll be pretty good value over a 12-month period. Obviously, it's general advice only. I don't know your circumstances, so obviously consult a professional before you do anything. But that's where that's where I think the action will be today. Have a great day. We will speak again tomorrow.
General advice warning. The content presented in this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and provides general advice only. It does not take into account your personal objectives, financial situation, or specific needs. This information should not be the sole resource when making investment decisions. We strongly recommend you seek the advice of a financial professional.